In our quest for the morbid, bizarre, and twisted, we stumbled upon these stories. Two disturbing trucker stories from the creepy backroads. I can't imagine truck driving being an easy job. The long hours on the road, days and sometimes weeks away from home, and only the solitude of the road ahead. At the same time, you get to see amazing views and interact with other people. The truckers in our next list have experienced some horrifying encounters. Number 1. The Hanging Man. I was driving home one night as I had not seen my family for about 2 weeks. Filled with excitement, I decided to take a shortcut through a desolated area that I didn't know too well. I had heard stories through the scanner about it, mostly ghostly tales, and I do as a matter of fact believe in ghosts, but my eagerness to surprise my wife and kids got the best of me. It was about 3:40 a.m. or so in the morning, and I had been on that particular road for about an hour already, and nothing out of the ordinary had happened. Suddenly, I get to an area packed with old creepy trees on the side and tons of shrubbery. As usual, my radio was on, and out of nowhere, this horrible static starts to crackle through the speakers. I started to feel chilly and uncomfortable when, wouldn't you know, I saw a man hanging from a tree on the side of the road. There he was. His body was even swinging from side to side. I stepped on the brake as fast and as carefully as I could, but I kept looking through my rearview mirror, and he was still there. I grabbed my coat, my gun, and my flashlight, and I had my phone in my pocket, and I started to dial 911, but there was no signal. I made my way through the shrubs, and when I reached the tree, he was gone. I moved the flashlight around, thinking maybe he got free. I went back to my truck, looking back, and there he was again, hanging like I had seen him before. After this, let's just say I didn't like taking shortcuts anymore. Anonymous. Number 2. The Crying Child. I used to drive between San Francisco and Wyoming a lot of times. It's about 16 to 20 hours of driving depending on the weather. My second time driving that route, I was driving at night when suddenly my truck starts to make this odd grinding noise. Sounded like if I had run over something and it got stuck. It's about 2 a.m. and I pulled up to a very lit rest stop, and I woke my buddy up who had been sleeping the whole time. As we both make our way out of the vehicle, I started to explain to him the situation about the grinding noise. When we started to hear what it sounded like a kid crying. There's not a car in sight besides ours. At the same time, we had heard frequent stories about child trafficking and kidnappings nearby, so we decided to check it out. We grabbed our flashlights and made our way towards the bathrooms, since the noise was coming from there. As we get closer, we realized it was coming from the women's bathroom. It's a low dual sobbing, and we prepared for the worst. We walked in expecting to see someone brutally beaten or worse, and we see nothing but only hear the sound. It is still there, but there's no one there. It's completely empty. We turned the lights on and still nothing. We checked each stall just to make sure, and nothing. We even looked exactly where the noise was coming from, and again, nothing. Is it a hidden camera, a speaker, What the fuck is going on? My buddy sees a small window and opens it up, and the noise deceased. We stood there for a few seconds, and the window slams shut on its own, and the crime begins again. We were out of that bathroom in seconds as we ran towards the truck, and you could still hear the crying. Of course, the grinding noise is still there, so this time, I pulled to another rest stop some miles away where we checked underneath, and we saw some sort of red and silver metal stuck right in there, and we couldn't take it out. A few days passed. I took it to a mechanic buddy of mine, and he told me that the piece of scrap metal that was stuck was part of a kid's bicycle. I don't know if this is somehow related to our experience, but it was one of those moments for me that I will never forget. Anonymous. Have a scary or creepy experience? Please share it with us in the comment section. Want to chat about horror? Drop me an email at trendyterry22@gmail.com or follow me on Instagram at TrendyTerry1. Until next time.